It's another Tuesday. You're welcome to another edition of Focus on OGTV. Focus is that program where we dwell on topical issues, current issues that is definitely worthy of mentioning in all ramification. My name is Hakeem Akitunde, and welcoming you to the latest edition of the program this Tuesday afternoon. Of course, you all know that after 8 months, the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities has finally been called off. Historically, ASU strike is like a recurrent decimal and has been on and off for some time, with every new strike action triggered by the failure of the government to fulfill its part of the agreement reached with ASU. The last one, that is the last strike, was an effort by ASU to get government to implement the negotiated and renegotiated 2009 agreement, which successful governments, including the current one, have failed to honor over the years. Whatever partial implementation and payments ASU got from federal government only came after strike actions, lending credence to the widespread belief that a strike action is the only means of getting the government to act on its promises. The experience of Medical Doctors Union and other unions in tertiary institutions over the years bear testimony to the belief that as soon as a strike action is suspended, government goes back to sleep. Well, will this one be different? Will this be the last strike we'll see, talking about our tertiary institutions, talking about universities? Will government continue to make efforts to fulfill its promise and not making it possible for lecturers to revert to strike any longer? This is what we want to focus on. This is the theme of today's discussion, and that's why we have as a topic to look into this afternoon on Focus: suspension of ASU strike and the future of university education. We are supposed to have two guests in house, but right now we have just one for now. We hope that the second guest will join us in the course of the program. I'm talking about Ogumefun Folorunso, who is also a varsity lecturer himself. Ogumefun Folorunso, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome viewers at home.
All right, you had my prologue looking at how the strike has been, looking at how long it has taken, and looking at issues surrounding the strike. Now the strike is over. How confident are we that this is likely to be the last strike?
Okay, I just want to congratulate the student because, naturally, once you face the wrath of this kind of problem, you know how bitter it's going to be in experience. Either we like it or not, there are true or tripartite stand to the understanding of what really happened within the context of this ASU strike. The fulfilling historical functions of the government, the part of the ASU and the part of the students. Students have not much to do but to lose, because they said when two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that will suffer. But we thank God that at least, either we like it or not, there is a promising part. Because if you look at it from the beginning, what ASU are really fighting for is an ideal team that government is meant to put in place. Because number one, according to the historical responsibility or historical value consensus between the state and the citizen, it is mandatory that the state should be responsible for the development of educational sectors. And how will they do this? By putting funds into education. You can imagine in the traditional, in the past, when you look at what some government have done in the past to lecturers in university, you wonder that does that mean that some of them don't pass through the full world of education before they get to where they are? Because if you look at it, sometimes when I'm conducting research, I discovered that most of these people coming up with this ill policy in education are people that are byproduct of free education in the past. So why are they making education so difficult for the younger generation? Because it is either you educate your people so that there will be development of manpower and development of the entire society. It is the responsibility and historical functions and responsibility of the government to provide those funds for ASU to restructure education. Because if you look at it, just University African University ranking is released just 2020, and Cape Town University was the number one. 1 to 10, no Nigerian University. 1 to 20, no Nigerian University. 1 to 30, no Nigerian University. The first university that will appear on the list was on the 44, and that was UI. Then after UI now, 57, University of Lagos. Then after that, now you talk about 77, that's why you have Covenant. Then 144 again, Landmark, Abombe University. Before 177, we have Landmark. So what are we doing in this part? It is not a privilege, a right for Nigeria to have quality education. And that's what, because when I was going in Lagos in the 70s, I'm a byproduct of free education. Even in my community school, we call Jaconde school in those days, we used to have what we call corporate social responsibility. That even the industry located in my community will have to come down and give us what is known as free drinks from Milo and treat up in those days. Because of lack of insecurity, most of these countries, most of these industries are not there to be found, and it's causing big problem on the part of this thing. So I'm saying what ASU is doing as a right step and the right direction. But the only problem I'm saying is goes on the part of the students. But if you continue to look at the part of the students, what will not be of Nigerian University? Because right now, what we are saying and the record we're getting about them is not to talk about. The one you don't have quality teaching, the one you don't have elder scholars, the answer is we have. But where are those instruments, equipment, ultra-modern equipment they are using in African universities that we're talking about today now? University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch University. These are universities that are nowhere to be found when you talk about UI, when you talk about Great Ife, when you talk about University of Lagos, when you talk about Modern University. But look at what we're facing right now.
So you can say truly, funding has been an issue when it comes to public universities owned by the federal government, owned by the state government. Yes, you just mentioned one. We might have challenges to actually make sure that they meet the standard that is required has been fought for by the lecturers, and the government is saying that there are financial challenges too facing them. But this same government, we understand, have plans to establish more universities. How do we take this side by side?
Well, I've been saying this. I think Nigeria, as we are, naturally there are two ways to knowledge in life. What some are saying we need more university because of the enrollment rates. People are moving out of secondary school and they have limited space, because go back to most of what we're saying in most of the federal or state university. Now I see the building is big, getting larger, but the population is getting explode. So definitely people want to go to university, but they have a limited slot for people that they can admit in a year.
Limited spaces are bound.
Yes. So on that ground, people are clamoring for more university. If you are clamoring for more university, the old one, what is the condition of the old university in Nigeria? These are things we need to put in line with one another. We need to know the latent and the manifest consequence attached to every new universities you're going to establish. What is the condition of the old ones? Then what are those things that you want to fix in a new one that will make the old one not to work or to work perfectly? So those are the things.
Okay, you're still watching the program Focus Live this Tuesday afternoon, and we're looking at suspension of ASU strike and the future of university education in Nigeria. We'll take this break, then we'll be back. Yeah, welcome back. We're still looking at suspension of ASU strike and the future of university education. Our second guest has also joined us in the studio. I'm talking about a public analyst who is a known face here in OGTV. Ustaz Jubril Lawal, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for being here, Nakim. We are at home. Good afternoon to all of us.
All right, we are actually looking at it and hoping that just as some people have said, it will be the last strike that we'll be having in this country as far as the Ivory Tower is concerned. But Ustaz Jubril, isn't it worrisome that ASU have said that they only obeyed court order and pleas of notable Nigerians as pending issues are yet to be resolved? Where does this leave us?
Good afternoon once again to everybody. I want to equally acknowledge the presence of the second guest in the house. My guest, I've been told, is a lecturer too, he's an academics, and Nigerians as a whole. You see, I have been on this channel severally discussing ASU, and each time I come here, I have always, should I say, I have the ill luck of being paired with academics, and we've always ended up having it at loggerheads each time I've been here. I hope today to be like that. But let me just go straight. I disagree with the thinking that this strike might be the last. Unfortunately so. Because all the signs that will make it to be the last one are not there. I was not opportune to watch Professor Shodeke on Sunday, where I watched the clip. Somebody sent it to me when he was on channels with Kayode, and he was talking about they are being forced, like he acknowledged, to go back to the classroom, and the government has not signed anything with them. And well, they are still waiting for government to sign anything with them, and went on to tell us how much government is owing them. And you know, how they went on to ask him that what has ASU gained or Nigerians gained, and he said, well, the fact that 450 billion or 3something billion has been scheduled to be in the next year budget is to him again, and that he feels that if that money is disbursed rather as you know, as in put in the budget, he feels that at least a lot of universities in Nigeria will have 3 billion naira each, and now help them in. Those are the arguments on the table. But like one Vanguard writer said, he said the Bolekaja tactics of ASU is the bane of Nigerians. And one thing ASU has not come to understand is that all of us are suffering from their unimaginative, uncreative approach to resolving the problem we have in the universities. In my 2 appearances on ASU, I have acknowledged, like Nigerians, that we have challenges in the university. Go to our libraries. All of us went through there. No new books are there. Our lecturers are not doing anything extraordinary in terms of research. Go to our dormitories, go to the hostels and go to the toilet. Don't visit the toilets. The only functioning place you see in the university are just maybe 2. The VC's lodge and perhaps the Senate building. Aside that, all other things are not working. We all know this. We all know government is not spending money in the university. But the question has been, why should ASU want to use a 40-year-old strategy of solving a problem that has been there for too long, when they are a bunch of intelligentsia that should come up with creative thinking? Why are they thinking and arguing like coal miners union? Why, for God's sake? That has been my argument on this program, and that has been argument of many Nigerians against ASU. We acknowledge there is a problem, but what we are saying is that your approach will not solve that problem. It has not solved it. Look, whatever happened between ASU and Gbajabiamila was a face-saving, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Why? Because we all knew that whether ASU liked it or not, with the court injunction, they had no choice than to resume. If Falana was not helping them, in one of my posts on Facebook, I said, if 1,001 Falana will not save ASU from resuming, it was obvious what the judge was talking about. He said the balance of convenience was in the favor of the applicant, which was the government. So all these problems were there, and government had no choice than to go. But then what did they want from government? And which government? government that will give us, people that are in their plans, they will give us their manifesto that will not be fulfilled. They will not implement their manifesto. Is that the government has to want to come and implement an agreement with them? 2009 was when that thing was signed with Jonathan. He left in 2015. He was only able to implement it once. What I'm saying in the sense is, we can't keep on wanting to solve the same problem the same way. They are intelligentsia. They should go into their research lab, whatever it is, and start thinking. And we have suggested. We don't just come and criticize and say, no, this is not working. We have equally suggested, can we look for university autonomy as in total autonomy? As we said, no. That if you do that, the argument is that poor Nigerian students will not be able to come to school, etc. Why are we being deceptive? Why are we not holding on to reality? If you don't put a thing into practice, you won't know the various challenges going to have. And that's the problem. So the way forward is for us to accept that there will be need for what we call full autonomy. University must get their full autonomy. There must be total deregulation in the university system. That is the way forward. There is no way Nigerian government, look, we have a lot of theft going on. Oil theft, whatever you want to call it. Oil theft, whatever you want to call it, is going on. Resources are dwindling. We have expansion in population. Most of them are coming up. Where are we going to get that fund? It's an obvious thing. So, ASU need to come up with creative thinking, imaginative thinking that will take us out of the doldrum we are finding ourselves now. And that is the problem. If we keep on going the way we are going, they will soon have reason to come on strike. To go on strike. And strike will become the only thing they use, punishing us, punishing the Nigerian students, and still coming back to ask for work, for money for work that they have not done.
Is it? Is it fair for government also to always go back to sleep immediately something leads to a strike of this nature, like ASU strike, being suspended? Is it fair? Is that the kind of government we deserve in this aspect? That is one. Then, if you listen to what he said, since 2009, this thing has been said. This is not the government that actually started, that ASU started this struggle with. Are we so sure that the next government will come in and solve this problem?
I think you've given the answer to what the president just said now. Because we said a journey of 100 now, we begin with the steps, and one day with the steps. If we are fighting for the first one, when we said about autonomy in the university, we have to look at the poor masses. That is what they've been talking about. Because if you allow federal or state universities to go on their separate way to generate money for themselves, it is the masses that will suffer it. Because we are saying, despite that we are having this, go to Olabisi Obasanjo University. At least, let me give you pay close about 3 or something for their first year. So let's even assume they are going on their own, or they are separate to start having money. That means we are trying to bring about what they call peer marginalization and widening the gap between the poor and the rich in the country. Because if you look at it, in fact, look at what's going on in town. How many Nigerians have that money to send their children to private university? Now the state and government universities that are not there to provide at least little help to the societal member, so that their children will be able to go in, they can pay close to about million university, if they can still pay close to about 100 or 150, they can still go to school. And now we are not saying government school should go on the private this thing. That means we are saying education is just for the rich in the country. That's what we're going to. And if we are going to argue about this in the nearest future, let the government make that mistake and give the federal university autonomy to go on their separate way. If we are not going to be creating havoc for ourselves, because if we have them to send our children to good school, and those ones that are private school will be the ones to come and harm our own children in future, and that's what is happening in the northern part of Nigeria. Those that are not trained are the real causing problem for the country right now. So I'm talking about this. And number two is this: is there any country that developed today? Don't let me go international. Look at Uganda, look at Tanzania, look at South Africa. Are they not putting money in research? Are they not putting money in educational development? So why are you still saying?
Why should Nigeria be different?
No, why should I be different? Because let me just tell you, every country that fails to understand that educational institution is one of the best work in the country, I'm telling you, such country will be facing eminent contradiction of underdevelopment for life. will tell us that they need to think. Everybody thinks. Everybody thinks in the academic environment. But the problem is, no matter how much you think, you still need to copy your own money. False. Because number one, in 2009, I wrote something in this part of Africa, social science research in Africa. I was one of those selected. In fact, we just about 9 in Nigeria was selected. They took me to Ethiopia for training, they took me to Tanzania for training, and Ghana for training. If you see what I saw, I know we are not the giant we claim. We are not giant when it comes to sharing of money among the politicians. But when it comes to educational development, some countries have gone so far. I told you about God's 2022 rating. What are those indices for rating? Is that not part of it? When you put money in research and you want development, is it not some lecturers that have came in the 60s that they want to go abroad, they want further this thing so that they go and compare with their contemporaries in the developed country and come back and disseminate information again from abroad to the younger ones when they don't have money to go? How much is the salary of a lecturer they want to go for research? In fact, if they want parents to come in research, in academics, is that you publish or you perish.
Yeah.
And if you want to publish, that's why Covenant is making the rules they're talking about, because the owner of Covenant understand the power behind publishing and perishing. If you get money for people to publish, you know you are a Covenant staff and you know you want to publish in the name of Covenant. They publish it. Sometimes article, one article you pay $1,250. If you have to pay for 4 articles in a year at that rate, how much do you think you're paying? How much do you think you're paying?
Mr. Jibril, you talked about autonomy. Yes, yeah.
Let me ask one question. With all this that you have narrated, what is the way forward?
The way forward is for the government to answer ASU. Put money in education.
Bring your question.
Okay. You were saying that looking at what's on ground, it's just it's a bare fact that government might not be able to meet these demands, and ASUS should be more creative. And one of the creativity that you think will work is to get absolute autonomy for these universities, which you mentioned, and I was saying something about. But yes, these are some of the things in the pipeline, so to say, or what some stakeholders will push forward. But how will you now juxtapose this? A government that is struggling to actually maintain its number of universities currently on, with the type of strike we have here and there, just coming back from one, still insisting that more universities must be created. How do you put that? What do you say to that?
Thank you. First and foremost, that suggestion that he has put on the table as what ASU has been pursuing, it is not the way forward. This is a government that is even finding difficult to immunize the kids, the orphans on the streets. Finding difficult. We are waiting for foreign agencies, development partners to support us in immunizing our children. We are seeing a government that its resources are dwindling daily. Population is expanding. Why not face reality? Is ASU the only one having problem with the government? The medical doctors are having their problem with the government. All of them are having problem with the government. So what they are asking for is a no way forward. That is one fact I think ASU need to understand. On the issue of when you give university autonomy, you are going to impoverish or you are going to burden Nigerian students and average Nigerian citizens with costs, etc. That's equally a backward thinking. Go into the world and look at the budget of some universities in the world. The budget of some universities in the world is far, far above a lot of countries' budget in the world. Go and do research and look at this. They are a victim of the indolence of ASU over the years. Akim, you and I went to university. Our lecturers are doing copy and paste in their research work. Our lecturers are selling handouts. And the handout they are selling is cut and paste on a lot of textbooks written far back in the 30s and the 60s. These are facts.
But does that mean, sorry, let me finish. Because I I want us to be. I want us to be like a realist. Because I equally go to university where research is being conducted and on regular basis.
What has been the result of the research?
It is the government that's not connecting it. It is the government that's not connecting on research. So when the things were done and the permission was given for them to implement, they did not. The problem we are having in this country is not the research, it's not education.
Research is like a market.
The implementation part of research.
Research is like a market. When you have a good research that is contributing to the society, somebody out there will buy it from you.
It's in Nigeria, you don't buy research like that in Nigeria.
You see, people are thinking backward. We need to start thinking progressively. If you keep on thinking this way, we will not be able to solve this problem.
How?
When you look at the issue of the only way you can run a university is to depend on the income from the student. It's a backward thinking. So university should start bringing attractive endowments. And I know what I'm saying.
How is there endowment if you are not having the capacity to do research?
Laugh now.
Because you should start like a realistic person. You shouldn't start like a young man that when they do this, they do that. That's not education.
We didn't get there just one day. Okay? We didn't get there just one day. We also, I told you that we went through the university system, and we also were going through there. So what I'm saying in essence is, as to need to have everything, they need to become more imaginative. Look, listen, the approach of Ochudeke and Co will not solve our problem. This approach of this mentality of let us go and fight to finish will not solve our problem. They need to sit down and look out for what is the way forward with the challenge that we have. There is no way.
This is what they've been doing. They've been battling for a longer period of time. Do you know how long they've been suffering in this environment?
There's not been battling. They've not been battling. They've not been battling. You come
government universities in Nigeria, some government universities in Nigeria are still winning grants. They're still winning grants, international grants.
Listen.
And they're still winning.
For now, there, I know 2, 3, 4 professors that are winning grants.
That grants survive the whole university.
Relax now.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said.
They come with you know it all.
It's not possible. It's not possible. But when you tell them about you put me to know on the table, and let them know that you think about where they are.
I am a Nigerian. I am a father. When I talk, a university should be given autonomy, deregulated. My child, my daughter will see me to go to university.
Yes.
So I'll be a victim.
But what you don't think about you, because you know that average in Nigeria now. What about those that are not up to you? How do you know them to survive? Are you going to go to university? Are you going to go to your community? Sabbatical kind of in your community and send them to school?
The essence of this discussion is to find a way forward.
That's what I'm saying. But you know how this thing comes to an agreement today? Because you know in the past. It's just like saying on air to indict what ASU is fighting for. That's the
Let's fact. All my statements are factual statements.
And you know what is an empirical statement as well.
Okay, I'm not debunked. I'm coming to your question. How many universities have been created? The universities in Nigeria today is not enough for the population of Nigerian students that need to just what I said. But are you getting it?
But if the state government does not have enough money to implement the old one, they are creating more.
If we need to have more universities, and we are looking at our current situation, knowing that this thing cannot, the funds from government cannot solve what we have. We need to solve that. And start,
and we are putting more. Private investing is ongoing.
My brother, wait. Let's look at it this way. My daughter, my secondary school lacks. And I paid for it.
Let me take your mind back somewhere. Let me take it. Okay, let me take it. Okay, let me know to say this.
I paid 400,000
for because you can afford that. Always remember, it's not for everyone.
Now,
all invested is not for a common man.
When you think straight jacket,
when you think straight
jacket, you won't solve the problem.
That's like I said. That's the private school. Yes, that's the private school. Now let me relax.
Submission.
Okay,
jacket. And you feel because you are thinking straight jacket, you know what will happen in the future. Let's get to that bus stop. There have been several suggestions on the table on student loan. It's not only in Nigeria. There are other suggestions on the table. It is not that the 100% of funding university budget will be placed on the student. We have not said that. Okay. But you cannot keep on having a fear of going to the future. Not at all. We have seen that all the facts on our table are showing that what we are thinking, government putting 100% of financing, tertiary 100%, will not work. People have come to tell us that in other places, it's El Dorado. Ghana is on strike now. Public university in Ghana, they are on strike.
Not all university, yes. Not all university.
The public universities in Ghana, they are on strike. We read 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. In UK, the same thing is happening. So what we are saying is not peculiar to Nigeria. We need to put our thinking cap on and start bringing a solution going forward in 21st century. That is what our argument is.
One thing is sure, whether we like it or not, we have to be realistic now. People will tell us that the body language of government does not suggest that they don't have money. But those who are suffering will continue to suffer. For example, the students have hailed the strike suspension, the strike, stressing that there have been casualties of war. Yes. That's the way they describe it, that there have been casualties of war. If we want to actually bridge this or stop this from happening regularly or happening again in the future, the truth must be told. And I'm going to ask you, Folansho, can government solely fund?
It's not possible.
So what do we do?
The government should give to increase the quota they give to education. That's what those people are fighting for. Because let me put this to you, Akim, because I don't want us to go out of this. And because I know three of us want to just go back to what we have seen in the past. We are largely product of public schools. When I was in Lagos, going to Jakonde school, my parents have to withdraw me out of the Yanira Nigerian primary school to go to Onipeju primary school, a community school, established by late Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. And we enjoy the benefit of that. How many of us now can send our children to just secondary school, public secondary school? The same way they want the standard is what they want to go to university right now. The same way they want the standard in public secondary school. Go to Abeokuta there. In fact, sometimes when I look at what we are facing in this environment, I mean, Akim, say the truth. How many of your children is going to public school in Abeokuta? I'll show you. So how many of those people attending that place can afford, if not start taking care, can afford to send their children to that kind of school? Akim, we have to be realistic about what we are saying. I'm not saying the government should fully sponsor education. But the problem is those that enjoy that free education are the ones making a policy that destroys academic standard of this country. And God is watching. That's my suggestion about it.
He has said that government cannot fund 100%. In other words, he has agreed with me.
No, I've said that before you arrive. But no schools, no country in the world. No country in the world that government can fully fund. But they must increase the value of that education because number one, research is not paid.
Now,
So let
us start to concise this discussion. Let us concise this discussion. We have agreed that government cannot go on.
We are on the same page on that.
What do we
do now to improve it?
I am fighting for
full autonomy. He says with full autonomy, many students or many poor masses, many children of poor masses will not be. But let's just leave that.
Those are empirical.
Let's also look at
coming to the issue of secondary school that you mentioned.
Okay. Let's let from him.
Luckily, I grew up in Lupeju.
Okay, thank
and
you.
I know the school you mentioned.
Okay,
I attended CMS Grammar School.
Okay.
And I knew when those schools were created.
Okay.
A lot of my younger ones attended those schools. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know the problem we have? The so-called reduced, standard in secondary school, primary school. It is not government.
It is what, sir?
Just relax. It is not government.
How?
It is because the people want to be deceived.
How?
Relax.
Relax. How?
I brought all the arguments.
Yes.
This kind of thinking that everything was the government is what is killing secondary school and primary school education in Nigeria.
But is government not encouraging that? Making it to the table as if they can actually afford education. In some states, they don't allow parents to even contribute
Okay. You are only deceived when you allow people to deceive you. Government will tell you, we know this too, but we can't go out and tell them. Eventually, in Ogun State, for instance,
government or human
I am
factors.
coming.
That's not government.
Relax. In Ogun State, for instance, education is inverted commas free.
Free, yeah.
Go and ask parents how much they are paying, contributing for this fee or that fee. Not less than 3,000-4,000 per session, per term rather. Go and ask. PTA this, that money, this fee, they go. Yes, they will say they will go to the Ministry of Education for approval. They will give approval to go. Let me tell you, if we have 1 million students in primary and secondary school, the last time I checked, 2017 to 2018, the number of enrollment in a primary school was 378,000 as I yesterday 2020. Now, if you look at that, and you're able to look at what is happening now, and we have 1 million student enrollment, 1 million student enrollment in both primary and secondary school, and you charge them just to pay 2,500 naira per term. That's how much? That's 2.5 billion per term. Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why when people come say, no, don't do that trash?
Where's the money going? Is it state government account? Let's clear whatever you're saying on the table. Is it going to government or is going to be? We are not talking about. They are not collecting the money we are talking about now.
Why will I if government say, we have 1 million students on enrollment, primary and secondary school, and we say, look, we need to find a way to part finance this. Let parents pay 2,500 per term for their wards. That is 2.5 billion per term. How much is government paying as teachers' salary in per annum? These are the deceptions. This is why people need to, and that is the kind of argument that is coming up now. I said, look, unless we get there and start this, we won't see all that is there for us to gain. But there is something for us to gain. When we realize that government cannot totally finance education, which you have agreed on. So the way forward is how do we know how to do it? And that's why I said, the fact that we want to say university should be deregulated, there should be autonomy given to university, is not to say that parents are going to pay through their noses.
We also know that whether we like it or not, these universities generate some kind of, they have IGR.
Yes.
Where we know that
because some government are even looking into that.
How much of monitoring, how much of scrutiny has been given to this mongoose amount, maybe in quotes, that is being made by most of these long-established universities? How much of watchdog has ASU been providing to actually see that the leadership of the university, that's the president even accused them of corruption.
I wanted to say that, but it was the time when the experience,
most of the presidents not right to have said so. How much of scrutiny have been given so far to the money generated by these universities, by these ASU people, to say that okay, even this one we are generating, do they have accountability on how it is being spent?
And that's why the other time when Shodeke went on air to say that even they want government to even take off their hand in the election process of the university. Because you are the one that will appoint who is going to be the VC of the school. So if the person carry out a misconception behavior within the concept of that particular university, who is going to probe the person? If you still remember what really happened in the University of Lagos at that time, when Babala Ken and the director was having issue, when he was saying this was on ground, they wanted to take him out of that environment. All of a sudden, the government order nothing of such. And several times, as we have said this thing, that any vice chancellor of a university that you find wanting of any corrupt behavior, please let them be taken to court and let them be charged for their case, for their this thing, because you are the head. You are not expected to carry out such kind of misbehavior, and you are doing it, then you are open to trial. If any one of them has done anything and they feel this person has done this thing and it's not the thing you are expecting from the leader, then the thing should be tried.
Let's look at the past 8 months, Ustaz Jibril, when the strike was on. Yes, we are, even though we don't know what might happen tomorrow, but we know that at least we must follow, the country has a law, and of course everybody must obey the law, and the courts have said go back, even though ASU leadership are saying that the pleas of people and people, but we know that the court said go back and they have gone back. Now, let us look at the reaction or the performance of relevant ministries during the course of this strike. How will you rate it? Specifically, the Ministry of Labour and Productivity, the Ministry of Education, and other relevant ministries in bringing this impasse to an end. How will you want to rate their performance, Mr. Jubril?
They've done what they need to do as government agencies, and that's where they were confident enough to take us to court. If they've not done their bit, they will be taking us to court. And I'll tell you what I mean. I was privileged to watch Adamu, and don't forget, Adamu was an ASU advocate before he became the minister. He wrote a lot of articles against government when he was with ASU as a lecturer. Now, when he became a minister,
he saw the reality.
He saw the reality. They now asked him, and Shehu asked him, he said, Minister, look into the camera and tell Nigerians that this crisis will be resolved soon. And he said, before I go into that, I have done everything I could do in my capacity as a Minister of Education.
And as a former ASU member.
And as a former ASU member. I have gone to them in their offices, I have gone to them in their homes to appeal to them. He won't just be going to appeal to them if nothing has been offered on the table. You see, whatever is happening now, we all realize that ASU has been boxed with a tight corner. But that singular action of government, at the rate which this is going, we might need to go to court to get injunction against these people. Because they were adamant, they were not listening to anybody. And when government went to court, I was on the public, analysis program, and I said, yes, this problem will be resolved now. That's what he said. Well, I said, the only way out is what government has done. The second week, NANS took to the street, and I said, this is ASU's Waterloo. And the anchor, the producer said, how do you mean? I said, no court will be looking at what NANS is doing and still want ASU to continue their strike. So when the verdict came, to some of us, we were not shocked. When Falana said they were appeal, I said, 1,001 Falana cannot change that injunction. Because Nigeria was already in peril because of that action. And the only way, and ASU was not listening to anybody. The president, if you have not forgotten, during Leah Salah break in Katsina, when governors went to go and meet him, he made one statement. He said, you people are friends of ASU. Can you help us appeal to ASU to please call off the strike? For him to have said that, there are a number of things that have been done on the table. Minister of Labour went in, they placed their conditions on the table. ASU said nothing has been done. We knew there was an increment in their salary. What was the problem then? Which everybody, Governor Okunzodinma came and said, there is no way ASU will get what they are asking for. That the total amount of money they are asking for, he gave us. Now how can Nigerian budget accommodate that? The next week, Keyamo came on air and told us. They now went on to say, he now said, what's his name? Ngigi now said, every issue has been resolved. That what is only outstanding is the issue of no work, no pay.
No pay.
And that was, so if you ask them to judge or to assess the institutions, they've done their bit as an institution of government.
Okay, I don't want you to react to that.
Okay, thank you so much.
The strike is over now. And of course, the students
on the part of the students, the strike is over.
Yes, the students must have to. We are waiting for announcements of resumption dates as per school. Now, the students are going to be the one that will suffer it, so to say.
They're already suffering.
They're suffering it.
They're already.
Now, the most key into the program, the crash program, these universities will come up with. We have some schools who have not finished their examinations. They've said examination will start by tomorrow in some schools. Now, what are you expecting from such students as lecturers?
Because
do you think all through the strike they must have been they should be reading, and so when the strike is over, examination
leadership we are producing, and that is why they always tell you that Nigerian graduates are half-baked graduates. That's exactly, is it not the aftermath of what they are doing that causes all this? I don't going to say when you stop, when you stop,
setting, like how many weeks or months lecture should take place, even if you are still writing that, or to allow them to resume revision.
If you just, it depends on where they stop. If they stop at the point of maybe a week to exam.
No, at the point of, most of them were writing exam before this.
If they are writing exam, what they need to do is just at least give a week or 2 weeks revision.
Okay.
Before exam will roll. That's one. Because number one, if that's why I said most time the problem of Nigeria is not just the government, it is the family institution itself. Why I'm saying this is this. ASU, is it not the same market that governors are going to buy things that ASU member is going to buy from?
That's been the same argument all through.
Now, that's the same argument.
Because the same argument.
Okay, I can look at it from this one.
Just like all countries in the world have such, good reason. Go to Finland, go to Netherlands, go to when lecturers are paid. If you don't do comparative studies, don't come on air and say it. Lecturers are enjoying. Go and Google it and get Finland.
Lecturers in Finland are being paid more than the others. Everybody in this thing now say, why are you paying lecturers that amount of money? You must pay me the same thing.
It's not. It's let
me be in charge of this program, please. Let me be in charge. Let me just tell our viewers that we want to also allow them to be part of the program. We are looking at suspension of ASU strike and the future of university education. We'll take your call. The number is on the screen. But let us all agree that, yes, one thing that have come out from this argument is the fact that we just must move on like Trojans, so to say. It's not going to be woo everywhere. For the fact that is working in some climes does not mean that's the way to work. We know we have challenges, and we know some other new government is also coming. But this question should be relevant to both of you. How do all stakeholders ensure that strike never happens again? As charged, for example, by the House of Press Speaker Femi Gbajami-Amila, what do we need to do? We don't have to suffer any. I mean, look at some private schools, for example. Their motto is, you don't spend a day more than the day you will spend here. 4-year course, some people are still there, 6 years in Nigeria, and of course they are still marching on. So, for stakeholders, what should we do? Let me start with you.
Well, I think education as it is now should not just be left in the hand of the government. If we have another dimension from the parents, but it shouldn't be something that has to kill them. Because one of the reasons why the state was formed was to bring about amelioration in the living condition of the masses. Socially, politically, economically, educationally, and psychologically, in order to meet the set goal of the country.
Let's take this call. Oluwasegun from Abeokuta. Quickly make your point. You're welcome. Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Yes, my own contribution is that the guys told us that they will let them go for autonomy in education. But directing of what the other person is talking, I believe that autonomy may take the cost of education so high for every individual. From the parent side, which everybody knows the situation of the country as it is, financially. But what I'm saying is that there was a time we invited one of these ASU members, the chairman, into this house, and he told us the suggestion they gave the government that we are meant to create money, to finance education in Nigeria, starting the economy, big organizations, and all of that. But they followed the idea, but they couldn't use the money. Even for the education they said they were starting the public for. Can't they go back to that system again instead of going for an autonomy? That is my contribution.
Thank you very much. Yes, you were about to land before that call came in, talking about stakeholders, what they should do to see that this should be the last strike. we see in our ivory towers?
Because I still remember when I was in primary school in Lagos State, I know that's what they call, we have one thing they used to do among the parents, they call it parent association. When I was in primary school.
Okay.
Then Jack Conde was the one, I said it here, I said, my seat in school then was provided by the government. All the textbooks, including math sets, including crayon and payment, and even a lottery voucher a day.
But cannot happen again now.
That's why I'm saying. I'm saying this because this is what we have benefited in the past. And at that period, anytime they call for parent association meeting, sometimes they talk about issue concerning the development of the school. So parents will come up with their own idea. Okay, what can we do? Sometimes you wonder that some parents who are financially buoyant can come together and say, okay, can we have a hall or build a structure in this environment that will bring about this thing? What are they doing? They are contributing to the development of the school that same way. If that's going to be established in university, no problem.
As Jubril, as we go, I agree with you that it cannot continue to be the same way. But in as much as parents should be, get ready to actually know that education cannot be what it used to be. Government too, what should they do? And of course, when it comes to sincerity and accountability, what should the university leadership also do?
Even presently, we have the solution. University of Ilorin has about 25,000 students or thereabout on their enrollment fee list. My daughter is a student there. The last time I paid, we paid 40,000 naira. 40,000 times 25,000 students in the school. How much does that amount to? These are the areas we need to look at. And that's why I said, HASU should please, for God's sake, allow us to sit down and look for, not just say, no, we don't want that. If you do that, they will pay through their noses. No, I agree with that.
So that's 40,000 times 25. That is even for maybe regular courses.
So
have you sat down to do, what do you use this money for?
To that. Wait, I'm coming to
yes, I'm online. I'm with you.
When you don't say that government, hey, this money is paid to single treasury account. Can we sit down and start taking government, casting them questions on some of these funds? That is one. Number two, in this Abeokuta, in the Federal University, a VC that just retired bought a Jeep of 40,000, a Prado Jeep, 40 million naira as parting gift. Confirmed. Where do they get that money from?
That's what we're talking about.
That is what we need to sit down and look at wholesomely. All the funds that are coming to the university and making even the child to sit down and bring fund, let university make money. Let us look at their budget. So what I'm saying in essence is, if we sit down and reorganize how things are, we might not be paying more than we're already paying in our universities. And that is the obvious truth. And that I said, HASU, for God's sake, allow this thing to run. Let us sit down and look at it and start losing our head on some of the issues we have with people. And they say, no, if we do that, the students will pay to their notice, the improvement. No, those are imperative. Can we go to practical reality?
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a very hot one this afternoon, looking at the topic, suspension of HASU strike and the future of university education. We'll continue to actually look at these issues and see if we can provide solutions to some of these problems. This time it was the stand of HASU, and they have resumed or suspended their strike. Next week we will do another topic. I want to thank our two guests, Mr. Jubril. Thank you very much for coming to the program. It's a pleasure. And of course, Ogume from Follow-Up, I also want to thank you very much for providing a robust discussion with Mr. Jubril on the program this afternoon. I remember you all sincerely. I feel like